from diabetes. I am in that group right there. I don't have diabetes, actually, though. I don't have diabetes. I had to bring that back because I did say earlier that I had diabetes. When I did that thing, I said my hand was up for all three, but no, I don't. I was pre-diabetic for a little time, for a short time, but I reversed that. All right.
That's
So
right.
praise God for that. All right. So listen, we are here with Dr. Helen Stoddart. We are on Facebook and we're on YouTube, and we want you to come in and meet with us there so you can ask questions and you'll see us as well. We're on Facebook at Praise 90.1 FM WJOU, as well as on our Morning Joy with Dawna Baker. So we got a breakfast chat and I'm so excited. Welcome, 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 Dr. Helen Powell Stoddart here today to talk about this wonderful, important topic.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. I always love being here with you and talking to you. I just have a love for you anyway.
Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. So let's talk about who you are first.
Wait, do you have love for me?
I do have love for you.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Let's make sure we have that straight. She's always checking me, folks. Always. Yes, I do love you so much. People don't know how much I love you. Just an amazing person. So listen, so tell us about yourself though. How long have you been a doctor here in Huntsville, in the Tennessee Valley?
Well, I have been a physician for more than 28 years, almost 30 years. I can't even believe it. It's very interesting how time flies. I studied in DC. I studied at Howard University and then went on to do 2 residencies, which I was kind of crazy at the time.
Yeah.
I did 2 residencies at the same time in both internal medicine and physical medicine and rehabilitation. And at that time, they were pushing physicians into primary care, and I wanted to be a specialist. So I decided that I was going to be my own gatekeeper. So I decided to do a primary specialty and a specialty. And so a primary care medicine. So that's how I did that. And then I went on to do a fellowship in non-surgical orthopedics and sports medicine. And then I did additional training in interventional pain. And so I came here to Huntsville in 2008. I was recruited here in 2008. And I worked at a large practice here for 8 years, and then opened my own practice called Pain to Wellness Healthcare. That's Pain, the number 2, Wellness Healthcare. And so I had actually been working on interventional pain. So I would be the doctor that you would come in and I would treat your back. If you had back pain, I would do procedures on your back, or if you had arthritis or any type of pain syndrome that was musculoskeletally related, any muscles or joints, I would be the doctor to treat you, give you and do procedures on it to get you better. And the one thing that I noticed, Dawna, was that I was giving out steroids. Right. I was injecting steroids. Right? Exactly. That's what we do. And what I realized is that I had to always tell my patients, okay, this is going to make your blood pressure go up. It's going to make your blood sugar go up. It's going to make you have weight gain. It's going to make you have water retention. It's going to make you, I can't do too many of them because I might damage your joint. I'm giving them all of these different complications that they can see. You might have spotting. If you do, and postmenopausal and you have spotting, just know it's because I gave you the steroid injection. Wow. And so all of these things I had to keep telling people. And in my mind, it just started sounding wrong. Right. And I decided to find an alternative to steroids. And I did. I found an alternative to steroids that worked extremely well. It was a nutraceutical. And I would do those injections. It had no side effects, but it helped with your pain. Wow. I love that. But then I started instituting something even bigger. I started putting in the lifestyle changes, and the lifestyle changes took it to a different level. And what I noticed was that when I put people on an anti-inflammatory diet, they got better. Wow. Yeah. And they got better and stopped needing my procedures. Okay. Right. Wow. So the people that followed an anti-inflammatory plan got better with their pain. Okay.
Wow.
And nobody had ever made that connection before, that there was something with pain and inflammation and food. And so I started instituting lifestyle changes into my practice. When I first started, I was still at the large practice.
Right.
They were looking at me like I had horns on my head or something, you know, like, what is wrong with her?
Gotta
And
have some people.
you gotta have some, right. And one of the doctors actually told me, he said, oh, I don't believe in that stuff. He said, what you eat has nothing to do with your health. And I, you know, and I don't fault him for that, because all during the time that I was in medical school, we had about 2 hours training in nutrition. And that was it for 4 years. And it was really never again visited at my fellowship at Sinai Hospital, at my residency at Johns Hopkins at Sinai Hospital. It was never really emphasized that you should do this. As a matter of fact, I was on rotation with my attending, and we were talking about a patient, and the patient, they, you know, we do something called a review of systems, and you have to talk about every system in the person's body. So one of the systems was, what about their bowel habits? Are they constipated? And so I told about the patient, and I said, the patient has a bowel movement once a week. He said, is that normal for them? And I said, that's what they do. He said, oh, well, then that's okay. And I was like, but that's not okay.
It's not okay.
If you eat 3 times a day, and the whole idea of your body is to eliminate waste, and you're keeping it in for an entire week, then that means that the waste, those toxins that your body's supposed to be getting rid of, is actually causing havoc on the cells of your body, on the DNA. And so we see more colon cancer. We see more of the toxins causing inflammation inside the body. And so he was just like, well, I'm not going to try to change what you believe in. And I was like, okay, but that's the truth. And we're finding more and more of that now, where we're seeing that there is a connection between those two.
Wow, this is amazing. So how long have you been really focusing on this part of your practice and what you offer?
I started focusing on lifestyle medicine probably in 2014, before I left the other practice. And then I decided, my husband and I decided together to open my own practice so that I can practice it more freely. Because, you know, before it was kind of a lot of, what are you doing kind of thing. And it was interesting because I would do procedures on people, and then I would do my lifestyle changes, and they would miss having surgery.
Right.
I wasn't very popular.
Exactly. You weren't making that money.
So, you know, I started getting like the kinds of patients, and this is how good God is, okay? I started getting patients that had gone through procedures and had surgeries, and nobody could do anything with them. And they would call them, quote unquote, train wrecks. They would send the train wrecks to me, but what they didn't know was they were making me a better doctor. Because now I had to figure out ways to help people that nobody else could help. And that was the most fulfilling thing. And then when I carried that right into my practice, and many of my patients, actually, most of my patients followed me into my new practice. And that was really great. And I just to have the idea that I can help you with lifestyle, and it will help you with your life. You know?
And you know, I know you probably may not have these percentages of this, but based on the patients that you see, you know, out of them, how many of them really make a significant change in their lifestyle and their health and all of that? How does that look for you?
Well, I can tell you that not everybody is willing to change.
Exactly.
And so I do know that. And there is something, you know, in the marketing world, we talk about, like, if you have 100 people, you know, 5% are going to be, hey, I'm ready to do this. Another 20% is going to need a little education around it. And then the other ones are just not my customers. Right. And so I had to recognize that I can't help everybody. I can only help those who want to be helped. And it's interesting, like Harriet Tubman said, I would have saved even more if they had known that they were they were still slaves. You know?
Actually, that's actually so true. All right, so listen, if you have any questions, we're on Facebook and on YouTube. I see you out there. So if you have any questions, go ahead and post them there, and we'll ask Dr. Stoddart this question, because now we're going to shift a little bit and talk more about diabetes.
Yes.
This is really your focal point of your service now is
Yes.
really helping people reverse diabetes, right? And
Absolutely.
type 2 diabetes.
Type
Is it
and
more
pre-diabetes.
and pre-diabetes?
Yes.
Is type 2 a more severe level of diabetes than 1?
Well, there are two different types.
Right.
There's actually several different types,
Okay.
but we're going to focus on type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes,
Okay.
and just can let you know what the difference
Yes.
is between the two. Diabetes is a problem with metabolizing blood sugars, the sugars that you take in when you eat them. It's a problem with metabolizing those sugars. So you end up having elevated blood sugar levels in the blood. There is something that is secreted from the pancreas called insulin, and that insulin is supposed to go in and help that sugar get inside of the cells where it's needed to produce energy for you that you can feel, but also energy that your body needs to perform its processes. With type 1 diabetes, there's damage to those cells so that they no longer secrete insulin. So they end up needing outside insulin to be given to them because they don't produce it themselves to be able to metabolize the sugar. In type 2 diabetes means that my body can make insulin, but it's resistant to the insulin. And there are several causes for that we don't have time to get into. But suffice it to say that because it's resistant to insulin, you're given a lot of medications to try to make the body more sensitive.
Right.
But the unfortunate thing is some of the medications actually make your body, the cells that produce the insulin die, so that you end up having to go on insulin over time.
Wow. And so, but both are able to be reversed, right?
Well, type 2 is able to be reversed, and we can control type 1 a lot better.
Okay, that's interesting. Okay, great. So let's talk about what you're doing to help people do this. How can we, and you got secrets to reversing diabetes and becoming undiabetic. So like I was saying when we started, so many people have diabetes. So many people in this area of the Tennessee Valley are suffering with diabetes. Let's talk about what they can do to reverse it and how you help your patients specifically with that.
It's very interesting. We're talking about lifestyle changes, and sometimes people think that these things are just things that you cannot reverse. Like it's impossible, because it's once thought of as a disease that once I have it, I have it.
Right.
And it's interesting because it's personal to me, because this is what my mother died of, right? She had complications of type 2 diabetes, and it was really only the last 4 years. She died in 1993, and it's only been the last 4 years that I can say that my mother and death in the same sentence.
I know.
Right? Without crying.
Right.
But I know about the complications of the disease. So what we do is we do simple lifestyle changes that include what are the foods that you should be consuming? What are the specific type of exercises you should be doing? What can you do to make sure your cells move properly and that the insulin is secreted? I talked to you about the foods that are damaging the cells, that will take away the ability for your body to secrete insulin. We talk about how to heal the pancreas so that your body can go back to improving. Because what the research is showing is that sometimes some of the cells are actually dormant, meaning they're asleep, and we can wake them back up.
Right.
And so that's my goal, is to wake them back up. And who knew that God would have given us some changes that we can do in just our lifestyle that will turn this potentially deadly disease around.
So without giving a name, do you have a patient that you like to talk about the most, who has made the most progress and success in reversing or managing?
Yes. I can talk about several. But I will talk about a gentleman who was extremely overweight. He had diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. He was having some problems with his kidneys.
And just to help us visualize it, how overweight was he? What was that weight?
He was about 270, 280. Pushing that 300-pound mark. And he just was like, he had been trying to do things on his own and just couldn't do it. And it's interesting that he came into my office, and we devised a plan for him. And when we came up with that plan, I was, you know, he followed the plan.
Right.
We
That's
and
key right
it's
there.
key. You have to
You gotta
follow it.
follow.
And we had some coaches that
Mhm.
kind of helped him to just stay on track. This man in less than 3 months turned around his hemoglobin A1C that
Mhm.
was 11.7
Wow.
and turned it around to then it was 6.4.
Wow. And how much time did it
3 months.
3 months.
Yes.
Wow.
And then his cholesterol dropped,
Mhm.
his blood pressure dropped, and his kidney function improved. And we were able, and obviously he lost a lot of weight.
Right. Right.
And when you look at him
Wow.
now, he is so trim and fit. And sometimes I look at him on Facebook and he's, you know, showing off his new body. It's really, really
Wow.
gratifying to see that. I have another patient that's out in Arizona because my practice is 100% virtual.
Okay. Wow, that's good to know. Okay, so
Yes.
it's virtual.
It's
Okay.
virtual.
Okay.
And so I did that. I started that in I closed the physical doors of my practice in 2021, realizing that if I went virtual, I can help more people and not just the people that were in my immediate
Mhm.
area.
Mhm.
And she's out in Arizona, and she had a problem with her cholesterol. Her
Mhm.
cholesterol was extremely high, and she was having problems. She had tried all of the medications to try to lower her cholesterol, and nothing was really budging, and she wasn't really able to tolerate the medication.
Right.
So she had to take the medication every 2 days to be able to tolerate it, and it still wasn't doing anything for her. She came into my program. Do you know that her blood cholesterol dropped 50 points
What?
in 2 months?
Wow.
50 points.
50. That seems like an impossibility.
And it was very possible.
Wow.
It's very
Wow.
interesting that these things, you
Praise
know,
God.
it is absolutely.
God has really anointed you to have this special program. How many other doctors are actually doing what you're doing? I
Very
know that
few.
there are some out there
Yeah,
that
very few.
yeah,
Very few.
you're taking it from the medical side, the doctor side as well, I guess I could say. We got a question from a viewer here that's saying, my A1C is 6.0 and my doctor wants to prescribe to me metformin.
Metformin.
I told her no thank you. Just last year it was 5.7. What is the fastest way I can reduce it? I know I have 3 months to do so.
Listen, I want your reader to understand that, you know, some people say, they say I have diabetes, but I'm not going to claim that.
Yeah.
If you don't do
Yeah.
anything about it, it will claim you,
Mhm.
and you have no say about it. So if your reader, your audience is willing to make simple changes, it can occur.
Okay.
And so I would certainly suggest changing your diet. What we know, and I'm going to like drop a bomb right now, but
Uh-oh.
what we do know is that it's not all about the sugar.
It's not.
No, it's actually about the fat.
Okay.
So when we have a high fat diet,
Mhm.
if we were to look at the cell, and I could draw it for you, the cell is surrounded by a layer of fat that's
Mhm.
called the bilipid. It's a lipid bilayer
Mhm.
around the cell.
Mhm.
Anything that comes inside of it has to go past that fat cell in order to get inside of the cell to do what it needs to do.
Right.
What happens is when we have a high fat diet, that fat likes, you know, when you see another woman, you say hi to her,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
I let you in because you're like me.
Right. Right.
So what tends to happen is when you consume a high fat diet, that fat goes directly inside of the cell. And then it becomes a matter of being standing room only. Say I'm going to a party.
Mhm.
I'm the guest
Right.
of honor,
Right.
and I want to get into the party, but everybody has come into the party and there's no room for me. That's what happens with glucose. And so glucose ends up being outside of the cell because it can't get in. It's trying to get that insulin to escort it inside of the cell, but insulin can't get past the fat. So it says, hey, I need to get some of my other friends. So it tells the pancreas, give me more insulin. So it starts to increase the insulin to make the fat get inside the cell, and it still can't do it. Maybe a little bit gets in, but it has to keep increasing the amount of insulin that your pancreas pancreas secretes to get the insulin inside.
Mm.
And when it does that, that's called insulin resistance. And insulin starts to increase in your body. And what we know is that insulin is a fat storage hormone.
Wow.
So you'll
Okay.
get fat deposition
Yeah.
around the stomach. And you're
Yeah.
like, why is my stomach like
Right.
this? It's because there's more fat
Okay.
inside the cell, and so the sugar can't get in it. And what's really terrible about that sugar
Mhm.
is that the sugar is like tagged with these molecules that scrape the inside of your blood vessels, causing inflammation inside.
Mhm.
That's why diabetics are more likely to have a heart attack or stroke.
Wow. So listen, we only have about 5 more minutes. So the caller or the viewer is her answer to her question is that she needs to cut back on the fat.
Absolutely.
So you got that. All right. So we're listening to 90.1 FM WJOU, licensed to Oakwood University here in Huntsville, Alabama. So get that little ID right there, because we do have a few more questions and I want to try to get to these questions as well. But before we get to your questions, folks, I want to ask Dr. Helen, as I'll call her, when is the conference coming up? Because you're going to have all the answers to their questions at a conference that's coming up in October the 13th.
October 13th, one day only. You don't want to miss it, because we are going to divulge the secrets of reversing type 2 diabetes. We're going to tell you exactly what you need to know. It is a one day only event. It will be here at the Westin Hotel on October 13th. And we're going to start at 6:30 a.m.
Okay.
And we're going to run
early.
throughout the day. Man, it's going to be power packed. We got a world renowned nutritionist coming from Canada to be with us to talk about. She's the one who wrote Becoming Vegan and all of these books that kind of help you with how to eat to decrease the inflammation in your body. We're going to have like an amazing brunch with Grammy-nominated John Stoddart and the Voice's 21st season.
Wow, you got
Wendy
music
Moten.
this time.
Right, we're having music because we know that music
Yeah.
actually helps to decrease stress.
Wow.
Yes. And so that's one of the things that we're going to work on. So
it.
the brunch is going to be amazing.
Okay.
And then we're going to get right into our sessions. We'll have a chance to have question and answer.
Mhm.
You can ask all of our coaches any questions you want. We're going to have a fitness session. We're going to have a lifestyle session. We're going to have one of the YouTube influencers, Sweet Potato Soul, will be here. She's going to do a cooking demonstration so that you know what kinds of foods and how to cook those foods.
Yes.
It is
Are
going
you not
to
doing
be.
That? 'Cause I know you are a great cook. Why are you not doing that?
I know, but I'm going to speak. But I wanted somebody else to be able to show things, because I want everybody to know that we can do this, right? And yes, I love to cook, Dawna. You are absolutely.
She can cook, man. Oh my gosh, she's so good. All vegan too.
Yeah.
And the beverages she comes up with too. Oh my goodness. But anyway, okay. So we have one more question here. Constipation and high blood pressure. What is best for that? Somebody is asking.
Constipation and high blood pressure, you need to increase your fiber intake and increase your water intake. That is important, because when you're constipated, that means that digestion has just slowed for some reason. If you're diabetic, that's one of the things that happens with diabetes is it slows peristalsis, which is the contractions that allow your to eliminate properly.
Right.
Exercise will also be a huge part of it. And you want to do something that you want to get moving, because it has actually been shown that moving increases the peristaltic flow.
Right. So how do you feel about, I kind of know what your answer is, but I'm going to let you answer. How do you feel about the teas and herbal things that people take for constipation and high blood pressure and things like that? Do those really work?
Well, you know what? I don't have a problem with. I grew up on herbs. We used to own a health food store when I was growing up, and we had all kinds of herbal teas in there. And don't be fooled. God has put some things in those herbal remedies, right? I mean, they're natural remedies. Many of the medications are actually derivatives of those herbs.
Right.
But there's teas that you can drink, even just drinking hot items, hot teas. And I stay away from caffeinated teas.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you have blood pressure, because that's going to cause their blood pressure to go higher, and it causes your heart to start beating. So if you have heart problems, that's going to really put a lot of stress on your heart. So I would certainly absolutely drink some tea.
Wow. So our time is up. And I'm getting all these comments here, and I got a really long one there. Can't get through it. But so the conference is coming up. It's called Reverse It Conference, Celebration of Wellness, Unveiling the Secrets of Becoming Undiabetic, happening on Sunday, October the 13th.
Yes.
A one-day conference at the Westin right here in the Tennessee Valley in Huntsville off of Research Parkway. Where can they go to get more information about it? You got a website?
I do. Go to www.pain, the number 2, wellness, WELLNESS, healthcare.com. And you'll get a little pop-up that'll let you register for the conference. And you must register. And I got to tell them this, Dawna.
Go ahead.
If you register before September 1st, we're giving away 2 free Vitamixes. 2 free ones.
What's the Vitamix machine?
Yes.
Stop it.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I got mine in. Can I get it?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We're giving away 2 free ones, but you got to register before September 1st. Yeah. After September 1st, the prices go up, and you're not able to enter to receive a free Vitamix.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Helen Stoddart has been with us for the past 15-20 minutes now, talking to us about her marvelous work that's anointed by God to help patients really reverse or manage their diabetes. Type 2 is what she primarily focuses on, but she does it through lifestyle changes. And the key, like we said, is in you doing what she tells you to do. So if you do what she tells you to do, you're going to have some great results. Thank you, Dr. Pollard, for being here with us. Did I say?
Yes.
Because I keep thinking about your your maiden name, Powell.
Yes.
But thank you, Dr. Stoddart, for being with us today and sharing all this great information.
It has been fantastic.
All right, folks. It's 9:07 right now. We'll be back right now. We're going to have some great music. It's God is in control. Dope. All right, bye, guys. Thanks for being here with me.
Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I can't wait to see you. I hope you join us October 13th at the Westin Hotel. Make sure you register right now. I will post the flyer so you can just click on it and register for the conference. I know some of you, and I know one of you in particularly, has been asking me about